Welcome back. Well, the owner of the Hibachi Steakhouse chain is accused of hoarding illegal immigrants. The feds say that Steve Lynn, who owns several of the Saga restaurants in Pittsburgh, was sneaking illegals across the border for kitchen help. He's also accused of renting a home for them to live in. Lynn was indicted on federal charges and faces up to 10 years in prison for each illegal immigrant.
Now listen to this. How would you like to go this guy get your teeth pulled? He's accused of lying through his teeth as he extracted people's teeth without a license or anesthetic. Police near Sarasota, Florida say Robert Rhinelander pulled at least 10 teeth on a reclining chair in his living room and made dentures inside his home. But thanks to an undercover sting, the phony dentist was caught and charged with practicing dentistry without a license.
Well, a police department and a fire department joining together in prayer.
Carly Shimkus with Fox News Headlines 24/7, Sirius XM 115, here with the video grabbing everyone's attention online. Good morning, Carly.
Good morning. And you know, while we enjoy the holiday season with our family and friends, a powerful video is going viral online with over 1.4 million views. The footage reminding us of the people who put their lives on the line to keep us safe.
I will run into a burning building to save your life.
Though I do not know your name, I will take a bullet for you.
Though we've never met.
I believe in duty and sacrifice of self.
On my honor, I will never betray my
badge.
What a fantastic message. That video was created in conjunction with members of the Manchester, Connecticut Police and Fire Departments who will be on Fox and Friends later this morning. Got to check that one out.
All right, I want to hear about this show, that Flip or Flop show. I'm addicted to that. And what's going on with their marriage now?
Yeah, the stars of it, Tarek and Christina El Moussa, we all know and love them. They've announced their separation 6 months ago is when their marriage began to crumble. According to TMZ, Tarek left his home with a gun. Law enforcement tracked him down with a helicopter where he surrendered and said he was not a threat to himself. Who knew? The incident prompted the couple to get counseling. They say they plan to continue working together on the show despite their separation. Well, this news, of course, bumming a lot of fans out online. One person tweets, I guess their relationship flopped. And Michelle says, I'm far more affected by this than Brangelina. They are reports that they've been seeing other people for the last few months.
Yeah.
So they're still in business together on every project being $40,000 over budget. Okay, that's good to know.
The saddest thing, though, is they do have some kids, so I got to look after them. All right, so Ambassador Bolton goes viral after trying this Simply Fit board that we tried out here yesterday.
Yeah, big social media buzzing about former UN Ambassador John Bolton. Thanks to his appearance on Fox and Friends yesterday, someone turned the footage of him riding the Simply Fit board into a GIF, and it can now, and let me tell you, it can really be seen across social media. One person tweeted, Mitt Romney can't do this, John Bolton on a Simply Fit board. And Peggy says, John Bolton's face, oh my gosh, thanks for the laughs. Who knew?
Awesome.
He looked like he was more maybe weirded out by Ducey grabbing him by the neck. I don't know.
A man of many talents.
Yeah.
Very versatile.
Thanks, Carly.
Thanks. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
It is now 58 minutes after the hour. Before you leave the house, here's what's happening today. President-elect Donald Trump expected to nominate ExxonMobil CEO Rex Tillerson to be his Secretary of State. I know you've been hearing about this all weekend. He's going to do that before he heads to Wisconsin today for his latest stop on his big thank you tour. Dolly Parton is hosting a telethon to raise money for the victims of the raging Tennessee wildfires. The country singer and 20 of her famous friends stepping up to help the people in Gatlinburg, where Parton grew up. And a live look right now of space, where in just a few seconds, NASA is launching 8 small hurricane monitoring satellites on a rocket. The technology will forecast the storm's strength when making landfall.
And time now for the good, the bad, and the ugly. Up first, the good. A seal pup rescued after he was found wandering near the Santa Barbara Harbor over the weekend, but thanks to some help, he's now doing much better and cute. And the bad, they're nuts for Christmas lights. Squirrels, they're ruining Boston's Christmas trees by chewing through the wiring. Animal experts say that they like the taste of copper. And finally, the ugly, the Virgin Mary stolen from this neighborhood nativity scene, and the owners are going to extremes to get her back. They posted this giant sign on the manger reading, "Please help, Mary missing. Joseph doesn't want to be a single dad." They say it's not a nativity without her.
Fox and Friends starts right now.
Bye.
Good Tuesday morning to you and to your family. Look at all the Christmas lights behind us. December 13th today. I'm Ainsley Earhart. We start with this. It's a Fox News alert. The president-elect adding 2 huge picks to his cabinet today, including the most anticipated job yet, the Secretary of State. And we have the scoop for you.
These are names. They're big league names. Meanwhile, how would Hillary Clinton feel if somebody questioned the outcome of our Democratic election?
Let me respond to that because that's horrifying.
Well, that was then and this is now. It looks like somebody forgot to tell her campaign chairman this morning, John Podesta, is making a new unprecedented demand to try to change the election results.
And if you were one of those people who cannot accept that Donald Trump won the election, have no fear. Government sponsoring therapy, and especially here in New York City, it's on us. Let me just remind you, mornings are better with friends. Cheer up.
Go big or go. Go big or go home. Go big or go home.
Well, he's going big and he's kind of home. Look, Pete Hegseth is having pancakes and punditry out there at Johnny V's in West Allis, Wisconsin.
They have some Christmas decorations up. Good morning to you, Pete.
It's incredibly festive and beautiful here. Close to home, we're in Wisconsin, West Allis. They call it Stallis. Donald Trump will be here in Stallis later today to talk about, for his thank you tour. But this morning, we're talking politics here in the diner, asking how Donald Trump is doing. We're also, I've been looking at the menu, guys. There's something called the King of Johnny V's.
Okay.
It's 10 eggs, 8 pancakes, hash browns, 3 bacon, 3 sausage, and ham. And if you can eat it in an hour, it's free. So
Wait.
I might give that a shot today.
That's not for an entire table. That's for
10
one
pancakes,
person?
8 eggs.
Holy cow.
That's just for one person. So I'm going to do my best.
All right.
That always amazes me.
Expensive.
That people do that.
Man, oh man.
All right, thank you, Pete. We look forward to talking to you throughout the show.
Can hardly
Thank
wait
you.
to hear what they have to
Is
say.
that a guy thing? Like, what? I would never pay. I would never even try to do that, even if it meant free
Gorge,
breakfast.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be miserable for the rest
It's
of
not
the
really
day.
a guy thing. I mean, it's one of those things. I think the first one to do was Beefsteak Charlie's.
I think it
they
is
said
kind of-
bottomless, the bottomless shrimp.
I think it is kind of a guy thing. There's a young man who used to live at my house. When he was in high school, he had a bet whether or not he could eat the Ben & Jerry's Vermonster, which is a pail of ice cream.
Oi!
And he
Did
did.
he ever do it?
He ate it. He was sick for 3 days.
I was going to say.
Right.
Yeah, it's a competition thing.
So it's definitely worth it. It's bad for you, and you threw up.
He
So
is still up
fantastic.
on the wall in Ridgewood, New Jersey. Just saying.
All right, now let's talk about some huge news that's going to happen today. How do we know? Donald Trump tweeted it last night. It's coming out this morning, maybe even during our show. ExxonMobil CEO Rex Tillerson is going to be offered the Secretary of State position. If he passes through the question and answer section through the Senate, he will be the next Secretary of State of this country, which is pretty astounding. When you think about an outsider, I go, okay, absolutely, an outsider in business. However, when you find out that Bob Gates and both Secretary of State, former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice recommended him, there must be something there.
Yeah. Apparently, he has been doing business with Exxon since the Yeltsin days. And according to the Wall Street Journal, according to transition officials, the reason he impressed Donald Trump, and remember there were a parade of people who were up for that job, was he had made some deals across the world that were Trumpian, that was their word, in depiction and in nature. Big deals, and Donald Trump really likes that guy right there.
Donald Trump says he's definitely going to be able to sail right through the confirmation process. There are some critics that are in Congress that say maybe not so much. We're not in support of this guy because they say he has some ties to Russia. He got an award called the Honor of Friendship that Vladimir Putin gave
Because he did a really big deal.
Right.
He actually was able to secure the Arctic drilling rights for Exxon, and then the Russian National Oil Company was able to take part in some Exxon concessions around the world. Good for both parts.
The problem is, and that maybe it's not a problem, he has done deals with countries that are not, they're authoritarian or they might be communist. He looks for stability in order to get his deal done. Now he's got to answer the questions. Can you put the country where you put Exxon? Right. Now the answer is yes, he'll get through. Meanwhile, let's talk about Mitt Romney. He is officially the runner-up for this position.
That's right. Mitt Romney posted this on Facebook. He says, it was an honor to have been considered for Secretary of State of our great country. My discussions with President-elect Trump have been both enjoyable and enlightening. I have very high hopes that the new administration will lead the nation to greater strength, prosperity, and peace. And that is huge. This is coming from someone who was not a fan of Donald Trump when he was running for president, called him a phony. and now they're buddies.
Which is terrific. I saw something in Gateway Pundit this morning that said that, according to Roger Stone, who has been kind of an ally with Donald Trump through the years, that Donald Trump really wasn't intending to make Mitt Romney a serious contender.
He did it to torture him.
He was just toying with him.
Yeah.
That's what it said right there.
I think that's highly, that's highly
according to the
I
people
agree.
we've talked to at the transition, there's a general, friendship there that has developed over the last month or so. And then you got the friend Rudy Giuliani. Nobody was more loyal to Donald Trump in the run-up to the election than Rudy. Rudy, as it turns out, is not. He took himself out of contention a couple of days ago.
It was probably it was probably one of the few positions that many people thought was perhaps a reach for Rudy Giuliani, although it's hard to imagine him not doing a great job because him and Donald Trump seem to have the same mindset. I think it's also important, too. I think in a couple of years we're going to be talking about Mitt Romney having a job in the administration because this is a taxing position. After a couple of years, a lot of people rotate out.
Maybe.
And I think he's on deck to do something or do some of these when you need.
Were you surprised this morning, too, when we got the word that Rick Perry is going to be Energy Secretary? He went from governor of Texas to Dancing with the Stars to Energy Secretary.
It's a good thing that a couple of years ago when, I think it was in 2012, when he was asked to name the 3 government agencies he was going to abolish, he said education and commerce, and he forgot to mention energy, which is good because he looks like he's going to run that department.
Yeah, he didn't get rid of it.
Good thing he doesn't want to get rid of that one, right?
But here's especially, he absolutely understands the energy industry. He talks extensively at it in great detail.
He's from Texas.
He's another guy.
Oil country.
Right,
Yeah.
and he ran that state. And I think it's also important to know that this is another guy that was he went at it personally with Donald Trump for a while. He put it behind him the second he got the nomination and said, I'm all in. I think on many levels, Donald Trump was impressed with that.
Yeah, when we traveled with Donald Trump to cover some of his campaign stops, Rick Perry was always there. Rudy Giuliani was always there, too.
All right. Meanwhile, let's talk a little bit about the effort to delegitimize the President of the United States incoming. Well, as it turns out, the recount didn't work out for the Democrats. And so now they've moved on to it's the Russians were assisting Donald Trump. Keep in mind, yesterday we told you that the CIA thought there was a connection, but the FBI said they can't prove it. Now, actually, the head of all of the government intel agencies, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, does not endorse the CIA idea because there's no evidence that Moscow actually did it.
Because we don't know intent. They said there's no evidence, but they said they don't know the intent. He goes, they believe there was hacking there, but they don't know the intent of the hacking to help Trump, Hillary, or, I don't know, Rand Paul.
They're never going to know. They're never going to know.
Unless you find the guy or the woman that did it and said, here's what my focus was.
James Comey even said, we're never going to find out about the Hillary Clinton hacking, and so it's going to be the same for both parties. But then Donald Trump was tweeting this out this morning. He said there last night, the final Wisconsin vote is in, and guess what? We just picked up an additional 131 votes. The Dems and Green Party can now rest.
Okay.
Scam.
So it's over.
So the recount is over, and that didn't work. So now John Podesta has put out a statement where essentially he's saying that it was all rigged, and he wants the Electoral College member electors to get a special intel briefing before they cast their ballots on December the 19th. He said this in a statement.
Despite our protestations, this matter did not receive the attention that it deserved by the media and the campaign. This should distress every American. Never before in the history of our republic have we seen such an effort to undermine the bedrock of our democracy. This is not a partisan issue.
Now, keep in mind, too, there's very few people that have done more to hurt Hillary Clinton than John Podesta and his strategy.
Because his emails were hacked.
When his email was exposed by a phishing scheme that could have lured in every everyday American, he's the most important person on that staff. It was all exposed by a staffer of his. Then he was exposed out there. And you know what it really revealed? It really revealed behind the scenes they have very little respect for their candidate. It also revealed behind the scenes that they were working in cahoots to make sure that Bernie Sanders made absolutely no legitimate progress towards getting the nomination, which in turn might have alienated all his supporters. That's pretty much on him.
Well, here's the thing. The White House said right after the election, there's absolutely no evidence that hackers impacted the election. Since all this stuff has come out, we realize, wait a minute, there's no information there. My question to everybody is, and it's a big if the Russians actually did hack in to try to impact the election to help Donald Trump, what information was the smoking gun? There wasn't anything decisive in the information we got from the emails that we saw that swung the election. The election was won in those blue states. that went red because Donald Trump's message was of jobs and of change, and that resonated with America. Whatever information we got from the hacks, I don't think had any
But Steve, they were hacking our Pentagon and the White House from 2014. They are China.
But that's separate from what we're talking about, whether or not it helped.
Let me finish. If you were that upset with the hacking by the Russian/China,
right,
you have now the President of the United States is scrambling to help John Podesta and everybody else instill some doubt in Donald Trump's legitimacy. If you're that concerned about the hacking and our national security, where was the hacking that affected the White House and Pentagon? Where was the investigation and the retribution with that? We never even sent North Korea a message. Now we have to get to the bottom of an overwhelming electoral victory by Donald Trump.
We have just heard from the producers. They're telling me that Donald Trump has confirmed that Rex Tillerson, this is a Fox News alert, will be the Secretary of State, as we've been telling you this morning.
Excellent. We're going to be talking to Reince Priebus in an hour or two, so we'll get the very latest from Trump transition team in a moment. But in the meantime, it is 6:11 here in New York City.
Let's hand it over to Heather, who has some headlines. Good morning.
I certainly do. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're starting off to a very good day here on this Tuesday morning. We start with the Fox News alert right now. Pure chaos at two different planes, packed with passengers, forced to make emergency landings overnight. It was a terrifying scare on a San Francisco-bound flight when it started losing pressure mid-air. The American Airlines plane, which left from Charlotte, diverted to Phoenix, and that's where crews checked the plane. Police giving the all-clear to a Lufthansa flight after a phoned-in bomb threat. The pilot immediately landing that plane. It was bound for Germany. It landed at JFK Airport, New York City. The jet, the world's largest passenger plane, was carrying more than 500 people. A busy night in the skies. A man accused of shooting two Georgia police officers arrested overnight after an hours-long manhunt. Police say that Kari Gordon opened fire on officers who pulled him over in a stolen car near the border with South Carolina. Gordon was out on bond for an attempted murder charge. Both officers, thankfully, will be okay. 6 Georgia police officers have been shot in the past week alone. 2 in a drug raid early Monday morning, and the 2 others killed were responding to a call just outside of Atlanta. A letter from President Nixon predicting Mr. Trump's victory will soon hang in the Oval Office. That memorable note coming after the president-elect's appearance on the Phil Donahue Show back in 1987. If this all sounds familiar, well, that's because Mr. Trump showed it to Fox last month. Watch this.
It's a letter from Richard Nixon.
Written 1987.
And it was just amazing that he wrote it.
Well, Mr. Nixon writing in part, quote, Mrs. Nixon told me that you were great on the Donahue Show. She predicts that whenever you decide to run for office, that you will be a winner. Well, Mr. Trump remains close with the Nixon family today. And those are your headlines. How neat is that? So we'll have that hanging in the White House.
Boy, did he become a winner, right?
Yeah, he did.
The highest office.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
First Nixon, then Churchill. Meanwhile, the video is insane. That's a woman being dragged off her flight, flat on her back. Wait until you hear what happened that led to this.
Yeah, don't jump the line. And what really happens at the top of Trump Tower once you board those golden elevators? That's our next guest, Congressman Ryan Zinke. Oh, now he's live. Just met with the president-elect. He'll take us inside and spill whatever beans he will. Coming up. Fox News alert moments ago, President-elect Donald Trump officially nominated ExxonMobil CEO Rex Tillerson as America's next Secretary of State. This is a growing list of politicians make the trip to Trump Tower this week. Among them is Republican Congressman Ryan Zinke, an early Trump supporter, met with the president-elect yesterday to talk about a wide range of issues. Good to have you here, Congressman.
Great to be with you.
It was back in May, I believe, on this program you declared you were throwing your support behind Donald Trump, and now you're going over there to chat about a possible job or just ideas?
Well, it was an interesting conversation. Lola, my wife, went with me, and we talked about a wide range of issues, from women in combat to land policy to Indian Bureau of Affairs to VA and veterans. He's very, very inquisitive. And when you walk out, I don't know. You know, if the president asks you to do something, it's very difficult to say no. But certainly his picks thus far, you know, Mattis and of course, as Secretary of State, he's a deal maker.
Sure.
And
Tillerson.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've fallen short on our trade deals. We've fallen short on our coalition, partners about making sure we have an alliance. I think it's a good choice. It's certainly different and shakes things up, but you look at how are we in position to our foreign partners, our adversaries? We do need a person that can negotiate these things in difficult times.
It kind of looks like the Trump diplomatic approach would be more cooperation with Russia and more concessions with China regarding security and trade and stuff like that.
Well, I don't view Russia as, first of all, our enemy. I view Russia as an aggressor, China certainly as a competitor. But you look at this hacking. Russia is an equal opportunity hacker. They look at vulnerabilities. They hack everything they can. China the same way. You look at our weapon systems. Why do they look really close to ours?
Sure.
The reports are maybe $200 billion of intellectual property taken by China. So hacking this is not the first time something's been hacked.
But what do you think about the suggestion that Russia hacked into the Democrats and whatnot to help Donald Trump win the presidency?
Well, a concern would be hacking into Miss Clinton's server. At the time, she was the leader, the presumed president, and hacking into her systems for leverage. I think Russia does what's in the best interest of Russia. So if there's something they can get into and look at it for possible leverage, they will.
Right. But what do you make of all the news coverage on the mainstream media, the legacy media, is essentially, it looks like, to discredit or delegitimize the presidency of Donald Trump. Hey, look, he's president because the Russians helped him.
I think that's folly. At the end of the day, what's the motive? But I do think we need to look at overall. I sit in the House Armed Services emerging threats, so cybersecurity is an issue. We need to make sure that we can deal with it. Right now what happens is when we get hacked, whether it's our critical systems, it's forensic.
Absolutely.
We can just find out, well, this is what burned down, and what do they get? We have a guess, but we don't respond.
Right.
And if someone hacks us, especially a foreign country, we need to immediately retaliate.
Absolutely. Congressman, thank you very much for stopping by after the golden elevators.
Well, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, too. All right, we're going to step aside. All right, we got some quick headlines for you on this Tuesday morning. A massive security breach exposes the personal health information of 34,000 people. Medical lab company Quest Diagnostics, which does my blood test, says hackers for cholesterol.
They know what type you are now.
That's right. It says hackers breached their internet app, gaining access to names, birth dates, and even lab results. All those affected have been notified, and there is no indication any information has been misused. Just for your information, my cholesterol is 190. Meanwhile, your comments have been pouring in about Brian Williams' recent claim on fake news and the election.
Fake news played a role in this election and continues to find a wide audience.
And last week, we had mentioned that Hillary Clinton blamed her election loss on fake news, but to clarify, this is what she said.
It's now clear that so-called fake news can have real-world consequences. This isn't about politics or partisanship. Lives are at risk.
Okay. Fact-check organizations are currently calling on Facebook to crack down on fake news, while Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg says they take misinformation very seriously. And that's some of the real news.
And you know what? They'll have a little bit of a cyber talk this week, right? All the cyber titans are coming to Trump Tower tomorrow.
Oh, right. Well, it is the heart of the Rust Belt. Wisconsin had not voted Republican for nearly 3 decades until this year.
Yeah, and today President-elect Donald Trump is thanking them as part of his thank you tour in West Allis, Wisconsin.
And that's where Pete Hegseth is now talking to those voters at Johnny and V's in West Allis. Good morning to you, Pete.
Good morning. That's right. The president-elect will be here tonight in West Allis. We're getting the pulse of the people, as we always do. Politics and pancakes. How do people feel about how he's done so far? And what do they expect him to say tonight? And what do they expect from a Trump presidency? So we're filling up Johnny V's. If you're in the area, come on out. We're just in West Milwaukee talking to folks. But right now, I've got Rick with me. How you doing, Rick?
Good. And yourself?
I'm doing well. So you're an independent. You actually voted for Gary Johnson. Yes. But what are your hopes for a Trump presidency?
For me, it's relatively peace, like no major wars, like kind of, stay as almost as is,
Do you want to see him succeed? I mean, or do you how do you feel about the pushback he gets from opponents right now?
I mean, it's kind of fair, you know, from like some of the stuff he said on Twitter, but like obviously you want to see a guy succeed. You don't want to see any guy fail in, you know, that role or that.
And the recount in Wisconsin, what do you make of the attempt to recount where Trump actually came out ahead an additional 131 votes?
I was fine with the recount. It was privately funded, you know, by Jill Stein and that. And like for me, basically there was some difference in the votes, which for me I want to kind of get to the bottom of why it wasn't exactly, you know, as before. You know, there was some difference. All the candidates either gained or lost votes.
Yeah, there's going to be some discrepancies, but we're going to keep eating. All right, thanks, Rick. Appreciate it. Hey, Jessica, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good morning.
Morning.
So you're the manager here at Johnny V's, right? Tell us a little bit about this spot.
So it's been here for about 24 years. It's ran by the son and daughter of Mo and John. So used to be open 24 hours. Now we kind of it's just open.
It's a great spot, so come on out if you're here for sure. You're a Republican, voted for Donald Trump. How do you feel like he's doing so far?
I feel like it's getting really exciting. I feel that he's going to bring something different to America. I feel like it's going to be positive.
How do you feel about the picks he's made so far on the transition for his cabinet?
I feel like they're different. It's very we're going to have like CEOs of different companies, people that are successful, helping to build America up again.
What do you make of, there's been criticism that, you know, CEOs don't have the political experience, or they don't have, you know, do you think it's an advantage instead that they come at it from a different angle?
I think it will be an advantage. I think that they'll come at it from a different angle and bring out their knowledge and share it with everybody else.
Absolutely. So there's a something on the menu called the King Johnny V's, 10 pancakes, 8 eggs. Do you think I'm going to be able to finish it?
I think so.
There you have it. A prediction that I will be able to eat and get my picture on the wall and get a free T-shirt. We'll see. Stick around.
Yeah.
We also mentioned free T-shirt. Yeah. That changes everything.
Right. And now the real prediction would be, can the Packers make the playoffs?
I'll do anything for a free T-shirt.
I want to, can the what?
Well,
Packers make the playoffs.
All right, that's the real question. I want to see all of that displayed like on the counter, just so we can see how much food that really is. Do you think they can make it for you?
We'll do it for you, Ainsley, for sure.
Thank you.
All right.
Yep, they're going to. It's coming up soon.
Because I want to count the number of eggs. Actually, it's Wisconsin. Then we'll recount the number of eggs.
That's cute.
All right, Pete.
That's right.
Pete, we'll see you shortly. All right, straight ahead on this Tuesday morning, a college professor berates his coworkers for supporting the president-elect, and then our own Tucker Carlson schools him.
I know what a weaselly inference is. Don't pretend, just say it out loud. Be a man about it.
And Tucker wasn't finished. We'll show you some more.
And would he be a man about it? And the video is insane. That's a woman being dragged off her flight flat on her back. Wait until you hear what she did that led to this.
But first, happy birthday to Dick Van Dyke. He is 91 years old today. What do y'all remember him for most?
The Dick Van Dyke Show.
Mary Poppins.
Yeah, Dick Van Dyke Show we get too. He fell over the ottoman.
Joseph Lingell and Chief Master Sergeant Mitchell Brush.
Right over here.
Sergeant General, thank y'all so much for being with us. What does this mean to you?
So we're just happy to be here. We're proud of who we are. The National Guard has changed a lot in 380 years. We're deployed all over the world, and we fight our nation's wars. We protect the homeland, and we build partnerships all around the world.
It's amazing. It's amazing we were able to get you here, Sergeant. You guys predate the starting of the country.
We do.
Hard to believe, right? We've been doing this for a long time, and I think we're pretty good at it. We got a lot of professionals in the Army, Air, National Guard that protect our homeland every single day.
Over the last number of years, however, it's been tough to be in the National Guard because you wind up getting deployed and then getting deployed and then getting deployed.
Well, that's what we do. That's what people signed up to do. And I'm here today with Task Force Empire Shield from right here in New York City. You see them in Grand Central Station, Penn Station, the airports.
Yeah, we do.
They're here to keep people safe, and that's what the Guard does every day all around the country.
We really appreciate that, too.
As you keep us safe, would you like to go ahead and have the ceremonial?
We
should have a
video. Come up here.
Let's show the cake first of all.
The cake.
There's the cake.
The commander, Colonel P. Riley, and I are going to help cut it. We're going to cut a piece. Ready?
Yes, sir.
There we go.
Yay!
Yay!
This is good news for New York because we hand this out to New York.
Right here. And the youngest, Sergeant Private First Class Swartz, is going to have a bite for all of.
Is that the tradition? That's the tradition?
The youngest. He's 22 years old.
22 years old.
22 years old.
So
PFC Sports is going to have a big bite.
Private, did you join for the cake?
I joined for a good cause. Happy birthday, National Guard. There we go.
Oh,
All right.
Does it taste like a 380-year-old cake?
Not at all, sir. Not at all.
Right. Very good. And Sergeant, what's the special challenge to serving the National Guard in these times?
You know, it's just a balance of trying to figure out how to get your civilian job, because 70% of our force are traditional guardsmen. They come in and drill on the weekends, and then try to balance your military job with all the requirements that we do, whether it's homeland or whether it's overseas someplace fighting our nation's wars.
So you need cooperation from the private sector to see the potential.
We absolutely do. Yeah, we have to thank our communities and our families and our employers for giving the great support they do to the men and women who are our service members.
All right, we're going to step aside because he needs some coffee to go with the cake.
Right, and guys, we really appreciate all your service.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, let's toss it inside. Heather has some news for us. Good morning, Heather. I certainly do. Good morning and happy birthday to our National Guardsmen out there. A couple of headlines to bring you. Did you see this one last night? Our own Tucker Carlson taking on a math professor who's still furious over President-elect Donald Trump's win. Tony Macula is his name, and he sent an email to 600 employees at the State University of New York in Geneseo, asking them to defend why they voted for the man he says embodies the, quote, white power movement. Carlson grilling Macula over his message. Check this out.
I never called anyone a racist. I didn't make any assertions. No, I didn't make. Don't you know the difference between an assertion and a question?
No, I know what a weaselly inference is, and if you say the guy's responsible for the ugly views of people who support him, even though he's never articulated that views, you're inferring that he believes them. You say he's, quote, the embodiment of white power. You're calling him a bigot. Don't pretend, just say it out loud. Be a man about it.
Well, there you go. Macula says he's received several messages asking him to stop whining and get over the fact that Donald Trump won the election. Then quite a scene to tell you about on a Delta flight as a woman is arrested and dragged down the center aisle like a rag doll after she skipped check-in. That shocking moment caught on camera as police officers pull her down the aisle by her ankles and her wrists. That flight was on its way from San Diego to Detroit. One passenger reporting that the woman was actually tased after she stormed past gate agents and onto the plane while ranting about needing space in those overhead bins. And a fake dentist busted, accused of lying through his teeth as he extracted patients' pearly whites without a license or even anesthetic. Police near Sarasota, Florida say that Robert Rhinelander pulled out at least 10 teeth on a reclining chair in his living room at his house. He charged $70 for extractions and $450 for dentures that he made inside that house. But thanks to an undercover sting, the phony dentist was caught and charged with practicing dentistry without a license. Ouch. And New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio creating a citywide safe space for his anti-Trump employees. Government-sponsored counseling services and mental health support services are now being offered for municipal workers. The city's liberal mayor, who publicly supported Hillary Clinton, said in an email that reads in part, quote, many New Yorkers may be feeling distressed or vulnerable following the election results. We have seen concerns expressed on social media, and we are monitoring them closely. So you can go to therapy if you're still upset about Donald Trump's election. Here in New York City. Let's head outside to Janice Dean, somebody who needs no therapy there. Good morning, Janice.
Good morning and happy birthday, National Guard.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. What's your name?
Donna.
And Donna, where are you from?
New York City.
So what do you think of this weather right now?
I love it.
She loves it. Why do you love it so much?
I love the cold. I love the winter.
I love you. Let's take a look at the temperatures. It's going to get colder, my friend. Let's take a look because the Arctic plunge is on its way from our friends in Canada. We're going to feel single digits and teens by the end of this week. Are you still going to say you love New York weather?
I love it.
Oh my gosh. I love you. I love you, National Guard. Okay, here's the temperatures across the northern plains. This is what's coming. Look at the wind chill. You still love that? Minus 24 in Fargo.
I don't mind it.
She doesn't mind it. Why don't you stick around for the rest of the day today? Okay. All right, we got to go. Me and cake, it's dangerous here. Thank you for coming, everybody.
Thanks for having us.
Wave to everybody at home. Happy 300 380th birthday, National Guard. We love you.
And Janice, send them inside. We'll take a picture on the curvy couch with them in the break.
Sounds good. Do you want to go take a picture with Brian Kilmeade?
Sure.
Sure.
It sounds like you're.
It's I got one quick picture and then it's off.
Never ask a question unless you know the answer.
Right. No, she kind of did. But that means they'd rather stay outside in 22-degree weather than come inside and take a picture.
The way she asked him, it sounds like that's what you were asking them. Come on in and take a picture with me.
I'm so lonely. It's just me in here. Hey, still ahead. An awesome message from first responders to you.
I will run into a burning building to save your life.
Though I do not know your name, I will take a bullet for you.
Well, that prayer has gone viral, and this morning some of them are going to join us live with what they want every American to know.
And the president-elect blasting reports from the CIA Russia tried to help him win. And it seems the FBI agrees with Mr. Trump. So what's really going on here? Judge Andrew Napolitano takes us inside the intel battle next.
This might be too
live
complicated
from New York City.